भजगुरे मना त्रिनयनन्दना अभय चरणा रविंदरे भजगुरे मन त्रिनयनन्दना अभय चरणा रविंदरे दुर्लभ जन्म का संगे दुर्लभ मानव जन्म का संगे तारो हो ये भव सिंधु रे अभय चरण रविंदरे सीता आतप कथ परीक्षण ये दिन गामिनी जाहिरे विफल से विनो लुपन दुर्जना सफल सुचल लागिरे अभय चरण रविंदरे अभय चरण रविंदरे ये धनय पना पुत्र परिजना ये धनय पना पुत्र परिजना इतकी आते पर कीर्तिरे इतकी आते पर कीर्तिरे कमल दला जीवन कला मया कमल दला जीवन कला मला भजहु हरिपद नीति रे भजहु हरिपद नीति रे अभय चरण रविंदरे अभय चरण रविंदरे श्रवण कीर्तन स्मरण वंदना श्रवण कीर्तन स्मरण वंदना पाद सेवना दास्य रे पाद सेवना दास्य रे पूजन सखी जना आत्मनिवेदना पूजन सखी जना आत्मनिवेदना गोविंद दासा अभिलाषी रे गोविंद दासा अभिलाषी रे अभय चरण रविंदरे अभय चरण रविंदरे भजहु रे मन श्रीनंदन अभय चरण रविंदरे दुर्लभ जन्म संगे तारो हे ये भवा सिंधु रे तारो हे ये भवा सिंधु रे तारो हे ये भवा सिंधु रे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपद 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 जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा निताय गौरव हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरव हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा।
Let me share. There is ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतिताना पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिसे नमः। नमो ब्रह्मण्याय देवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातं मां वन्दे श्रीगुरुर्भीयतारिणं श्री परमानंद माधु श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वर ओम अपवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतोऽपि वा यस्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्ष सा बाह्य अभ्यन्तरं शुचे श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु। Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for kindly joining today's session. Being it a Sunday morning, I know it's very difficult, but you have all chosen to give me your association. Without your association, nothing is possible. So I am not a qualified speaker, but it's all because of the mercy of the senior Vaishnavas in this group. I'm given a chance to speak something about Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the today's topic, the glories of devotional service. So it is like I am not giving a class. I am learning. We should be in the mood of a learner. So by this chapter, I'm trying to analyze myself where I stand in the bhakti. What is the glories? This is a reminder for me. It should be a realization for me. Today, whatever I'm speaking, it is like an academic subject because I'm not a realized person. But one day, by all of your prayers, mercy, support, this academic knowledge may come into realization. That's what I can pray for all of you. Once again, Brother visit, so with this, we'll, so thank you, Praveen Prabhu, Lilananda Prabhu, Ravish Prabhu, Jagannath Prabhu, Akin Priya Prabhu,
Hare Krishna, bro. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, happy Krishna conscious anniversary Prabhuji to you.
Thank you, Broji.
It's a wonderful way of celebrating anniversary. I take this as an inspiration from you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Ram Reddy Prabhu, Praveen Prabhu, sorry, Madhav Reddy Prabhu, Kalyani Mataji for joining today's session.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Thank
Krishna
you.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
So, whatever I am speaking is from the purpose of Srila Prabhupada and commentaries of the senior Vaishnavas, Acharyas, and Subodhini, whatever. I'm trying to speak from the lines of the Parampara. If anything, if any words from this inspires you, it is the mercy of all these senior devotees, His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada, the mercy of this Sri Krishna. If I could not sufficiently motivate you, it is because of my false ego, my all these things. Please forgive me for not motivating you. Thank you so much for this session. So today we are speaking about the Canto 3, 25th chapter, the glories of devotional service. So before that, will have a small recap of what has happened so far. So this is all the conversation between and top upper level. It's a conversation between Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, where Sutta Maharshi has listened. So in the second level of conversation, it is Sutta Maharshi explaining to Saunaka Rishis in the Naimisharanya stage, where they're discussing the divine topics between the Maitreya Muni and Vidura. So as we all know, Vidura goes out of the Hastinapur by the insult of Duryodhana and takes the association of the Maitreya Muni, where they discuss about the pastimes of the Lord Sri. So in that, we are having a discussion of the story of Kardama Muni, Kapila Muni, Swayambhuva Manu, and Devahuti. So we have seen how Devahuti has been married to Kardama Muni by Swayambhuva Manu. You can see the glories of all these three characters. So how Swayambhuva Manu was an ideal father, how Kardama was an ideal husband, and how Devahuti was an ideal and chaste wife. And after that, we have seen Kardama Muni was a first-class devotee. A husband should be a first-class devotee who should guide his dependents, especially the wife and the children and the relatives. And wife should be chaste to her husband, serving continuously like Devahuti. Yes, in today's world, it looks like an ideal case, but we can have a benchmark of that. After their prolonged service, Devahuti has become so weak, and seeing her condition, Kardama Muni has given her boon, and he has created a palace and took all everywhere to met the desires of Devahuti, even the material desires. A husband should satisfy the material desires of the wife. My wife should be a subservient of the husband. We have all seen that. After that, Kardama wanted to go to the Vanaprastha ashram. Then Devahuti expresses her desire. He says that I'm alone now. I want a capable son who can protect me. So then Kardama Muni, along with some daughters, has given a son who is none other than Lord Sri Krishna himself, the form of Kapila Muni. Kapila Muni was none different from Sri Krishna. Earlier, when we in the first chapter, first canto, we have seen the incarnations where Kapila Muni was given as an incarnation of Krishna. So sometimes when this knowledge goes back, when this knowledge goes out, Krishna he comes himself or he sends his devotees to establish the dharma. Now Krishna has come as a son of Devahuti to establish the lost knowledge of Sankhya philosophy. So the 25th chapter to 33rd chapter, which we are going to see in the coming days, is nothing but the Sankhya philosophy explained. But here in the Sankhya philosophy, what Kapila Muni says is he analyzes the body and the soul. Clearly mentions you are not this body, you are the soul. So when we understand that we are not this body, we are the soul, we should have a detachment towards our body, or it should not be a body consciousness. The detachment from the body consciousness is not alone sufficient. Without attachment towards the Lord Sri Krishna, without attachment to the service of the Lord Sri Krishna, every one of us has a service attitude. Just like Devahuti served her husband Kardama. So we all have service attitude. That is our eternal dharma. The service towards the devotion, service towards the Lord Sri Krishna is the highest. Save mumcham paro dharmo yado bhakti rado gaje ahoy tuti apradihata yatma sukasti. We all have to serve the Supreme Lord. When we serve the Supreme Lord, we serve the devotees, we serve entire nation. So here Srila Prabhupada generally focuses on the essence of Sankhya philosophy. It is nothing but the devotional service. So that's why Srila Prabhupada has given us one wonderful process of bhakti. There are 64 elements of the bhakti, but by the mercy of the Srila Rupa Goswami, we have been given only 5 glimpses. The 5 potent glimpses of the bhakti, which is nothing but Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana, which is the chanting of the holy names and glorifying the Lord Sri Krishna, Bhagavata Savana, which we are doing right now, and Mathura Bhasa, Sri Murtaya Sraddhaya Seva, deity worship. The morning program, which we are doing every Saturday and Sunday, and of course, we are doing it every day. This deity worship, having the chanting the holy name, 16 rounds of the chanting. And we should be reading Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And naturally, we are going on yatras. We are in associate every Saturday and Sunday. We are associating with each other. So this is a wonderful program of devotional service. If we are sincere on all these 5 links, the devotionals we can progress very well in. Then Prahlad Maharaj has given the 5 ways of doing the devotional service. Sorry, 9 ways of doing the devotional service, which is Shravana, Kirtana, Smarana, Pada Sevana, Archana, Vanda, Dasya, Sakya, and Atma Nivedana. Which is also requested by, which is also prayed by Govinda Dasa in the Bhajahure Mana. Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dasyare Pujana Saki Jana Atma Nivedana. So these are the 9 different forms of the Bhakti devotional service. 9 ways. By doing that, by attending the morning programs, by sincere in morning programs, all these filings and 9 ways of devotional service are completely met. This is a power-packed program given by Srila Prabhupada to all of us. Be very grateful for his divine grace and follow accordingly. So, this devotional service cleanses our mind. The entire devotional service cleanses our heart and mind. Today, since our consciousness is filthy, we have our filthy consciousness, filthy hearts. That's why we are polluting the entire world today. We are fighting for pollution here and there. Without change of our consciousness, the entire pollution cannot be solved. Yes, physical way of cleaning is okay. Bahya abhyantaram suchi. Bahya and abhayan. Inside and outside. Cleanliness inside and outside. So when we are clean inside, it will be clean outside. When our consciousness is clean, we have a clean atmosphere. So these materialistic people, they try to clean the pollution by way of by green evolution, by EV vehicles. Yes, to some extent they may give that relief, but ultimately it is the devotional service which is going to clean our heart, to clean entire ecosystem. So in this chapter, in this 25th chapter, we have 5 sections where first to 5 slokas describe the Sonaka Rishi's eagerness to hear about Lord Kapila Muni. So after that, when Kardama Muni was about to leave, so then he has a discussion, private discussion with Kapila Muni. He identified Kapila Muni as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he seeks shelter of him and goes to renunciation. Then Saunaka Rishis, they have expressed their inquisitiveness to have to have it and to hear about the discussion between the Kapila Muni and Devahuti. In 6th to 11th, we have Devahuti's question to the Lord Kapila. In that 12th to 27, we have Adhyatmik Yoga and its description where Kapila Muni starts describing about the Sankhya Yoga is the answer to the question mark. In 28 to 30, Devahuti asks further questions and Lord Kapila Muni answers them for the question 2 in 31st and 244th sloka. Today, we will be seeing up to 22 or 23, whichever as time permits. Tomorrow also being Ekadashi, Praveen Prabhu has instructed me to take the session, to continue the session tomorrow as well. So tomorrow we'll see the second part, which is the conclusion of the devotional service, which is much more important than the today's. Today we are seeing the diagnosis. So what is the problem today? Tomorrow we'll see what is the prescribed activities to be done. So Saunaka Rishi's eagerness to hear about Saunaka Rishi requested Sutta Goswami to continue the fascinating conversation between Maitreya and Vidura, in which they recalled the discussion between Devahuti and Lord Kapila. So the first 5 slokas describe about the glorification of the Lord Kapila. So, what does the translation say? Saunaka said, although he is unborn, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took birth as Kapila Muni by his internal potency. He descended to disseminate transcendental knowledge for the benefit of the whole human race. Saunaka continued, there is no one who knows more than the Lord himself. No one is more worshipable or more mature a yogi than he. Therefore, the master of the Vedas, and to hear about him always is the actual pleasure of the senses. Therefore, please precisely describe all the activities and pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is full of self-desire and who assumes all these activities by his internal potency. Sutta Goswami said, the most powerful sage, Maitreya, was a friend of Vyasadeva. Being encouraged and pleased by Vidura's inquiry about the transcendental knowledge, Maitreya spoke as follows. Maitreya said, when Kartama left for the forest, Lord Kapila stayed on the strand of the Bindu Sarovara to please the mother, Devahuti. So, in these 5 slokas, Saunaka is asking the description of these activities of Sutaman, asking this Lord Kapila. So, Lord Kapila is described here as unborn, Aja. So, Aja means unborn. Though he appears to be coming from the womb of Devahuti, he doesn't take any birth. His birth is not like all our births. So when the Lord decides to come, he appears himself, manifests himself. That's why Saunakadi Rishis are glorifying Lord Kapila as Aja. So why did he come? Why did he? Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya chaduskrutam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. To establish that lost dharma. So for every age there is a dharma. For every age there is a dharma. So Kapila Muni also has come to establish the Sankhya philosophy, to re-establish the lost dharma. So he has to give the Sankhya Yoga, to give the knowledge. So whenever he comes in the disciplic succession as well. So this knowledge should come in the disciplic succession. Even when the Lord comes, he comes in the parampara. Evam paramparam pradam imam rajasho viduhu sakalena mata yoga nasta parantapa. So this knowledge was lost in the due course of time. So to re-establish that knowledge, Kapila Muni has come. So here Prabhupada explains that in Sattva-guna, even it is there in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says to Arjuna, when we are in Sattva-guna, all the senses, all the doors of the senses gets illuminated. What is this illumination? This illumination is illumination of the knowledge. So when we are in Sattva-guna, the knowledge gets expanded. Generally, we see in a day-to-day material education as well. When the students excel, this is because of this Sattva-guna dominating in that aspect. So when we are in Rajoguna, we don't get knowledge. We will be devoid of knowledge. Why? Because of impetus for enjoyment. I want to enjoy. So such kind of students we see after finishing their bachelor's, they try to enjoy. When they come to the graduation level, they try to enjoy, thinking that they have finished their education. So there will be no knowledge. People in the Rajoguna, they can't take the knowledge, but they try to enjoy their senses as much as they can. But in Tamoguna, there is no knowledge and there is no chance for enjoyment. There is no chance because it is an animalistic life. We may see that animal is happy like by seeing, but it is undergoing so much pain, so much distress. So in Tamogana, we don't have knowledge and no chance for enjoyment. That's why the Vedas, they try to elevate us from the mode of ignorance to the mode of passion to the mode of goodness. Until and unless we don't have that mode of goodness or sattva guna, we cannot understand this transcendental knowledge. From that platform of sattva guna, Krishna takes us to the platform of Shuddha Sattva Guna. Sattva Guna, the mode of good, even the goodness in this material world is tinged with some impurities. But the Suddha Sattva Guna is completely pure. That is a point where our devotional service manifests itself. So for the Suddha Sattva, complete goodness, the prerequisite is to have in this mode of goodness. So that's why we should lead a life of human beings. Presently, the entire society is leading a life of animalistic life, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Only these 4 activities, we are doing it. So the Vedas elevate us to the point of moksha. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha. They elevate us to the mode of goodness. Then Krishna says, Traigunya Vishya Veda. Come out of these three modes of three, come out of the three modes. They come out of these three Vedas. Reject these three Vedas. And hear from me. Surrender unto me. So hearing from Krishna, hearing from Kapila Muni is in the mode of Buddha Sattva. Because Kapila Muni and Krishna are non-different. He is the same person incarnate. So that's why disciplic succession is required. Sometimes Krishna comes in the disciplic section. In the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, Sri Chaitanya, Krishna has come in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to expand this Sankirtanaya movement. So here, so Saunakadi Rishis are saying that he is the most knowledgeable and worshipable person. So there is no other person who is most knowledgeable and most worshipable than Krishna. The Krishna is the only one who is to be worshipable. The rest, all the devotees of the Lord. The worship is for only to Krishna, Vishnu, Rama, etc. Sometimes devotees assume to be becoming more powerful. Yes, devotees are also powerful. Sometimes devotees are more powerful than Krishna. Yashoda Maya, who could control the Krishna. Radharani, who is controlling Krishna. Arjuna, for whom Krishna has become the chariot driver. Sometimes the love of the devotee exceeds so much that Krishna becomes a subordinate to them. But though they are highest, the devotees are not as, even the devotees are not as powerful as Lord. They are not on the equal platform. They are subservient. They are anudas of the Supreme Lord. Why devotees have become such a powerful person? Because they have the association with the Supreme Personality. So when an iron rod is put into the fire, the iron rod also acquires the same nature as the fire. It also has the same heat, light, and burning sensation. So it should be in the association of the fire. We also can become similar in quality to Krishna when we associate with Krishna. How can we associate with Krishna? With the satsanga. When we are in satsang discussing the topics of the Krishna, when we are chanting the holy names, when we are associating with the Krishna's paraphernalia. All these are Krishna's paraphernalia. When we associate all these things, we can revive our lost quality of Satchitananda Vigraha. And Saunaka Rishis are saying there is no other pleasure to the senses apart from the Krishna Katha. So there is no other sense. So generally we are trying to enjoy our senses in a material way by eating outside, hearing from other non-devotees, seeing movies. We are trying to satisfy our senses, but there is no happiness in that. The only happiness which we can get, when only pleasure which we can get, is only when we hear from Krishna Katha from a pure devotees like Sutta Maharshi, Sudhir Goswami. Then Maitreya Muni continues to explain to Vidura. Why? Because Maitreya Muni was a dear friend of Vidura. Maitreya Muni, being the dear friend of Vidura, he explains he was satisfied by the question of Vidura. Wants to hear from about Kapila Muni. So, a speaker of Bhagavatam is always happy when we ask questions related to Krishna. So, when there is a discourses on the transcendental topics between devotees of equal mentality, the questions and answers are very fruitful and encouraging. So, more than the lecture, the question and answer sessions are much more important. I don't know who said it, but one Acharya said, more than the lecture, the question and answers coming at the end is much more important because it is more personalized. The entire philosophy is personalized. So here also, we can see the question and answers. Any Shastra, by fact, Bhagavad Gita, whatever it may be, it is based on question and answers between two equal mentality people. Such question and answers gives satisfaction. Then Maitreya Muni said, that in the absence of the father, it is a duty of the grown son to take charge of his mother and serve her to the best of his ability, so that she will not feel separated from husband. So, son is non-different from the father. How can we know that? If we go back to the first canto and see where Ashwadhama was brought by Arjuna and Krishna to punish, to kill. So Ashwadhama releases the Brahmastra weapon to kill Parikshit Maharaj, the last emperor of the Pandu dynasty. Then Krishna protects Parikshit Maharaj. After that, Arjuna and Krishna goes and catches Ashwadhama so that they can kill. Then what did Draupadi say? Draupadi said, Ashwadhama is a Brahmana. He is non-different from your Guru. Your Guru is no longer in this material world. Ashwadhama is a representative of his father. There is no one who can take care of, who is there to take care of his mother. She left him. He forgave that mistake and left him. So this is the highest knowledge. The son should be such that he is not different from his father. It is a duty of a son to take care of his mother and parents. The family affairs and the wife may be taken charge of by a grown son. This is our Vedic style, I've said. But today, in the name of enjoyment, children are sending their parents to the old age homes. It's an unfortunate situation. So everyone should listen to this Srimad Bhagavatam so that we can know what is a duty of a son, what is a duty of a wife, what is the duty of a husband. So Devhuti questions to Lord Kapila in 6 slokas to 11 slokas. Recalling the Brahma's prediction, Devhuti approached Kapila Deva for instruction, feeling frustrated that her mind and senses had led her to materialistic life. Kapila Deva proceeded to describe the process of Sankhya Yoga and other key philosophies. So, in the previous chapter, 24th chapter, where Ananda Prabhu has explained about Brahma's prediction, Brahma's description. So, recalling that Brahma's prediction, Devahuti understood the Kapila Muni is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who can satisfy her. So now she is not asking for material desires. She is saying that her mind and senses have led to the materialistic life. She is not at all happy. She took material pleasure from her husband Kardama Muni. But after that, he has lamented. Why? Because of this mind and senses. When we satisfy our mind and senses by materialistic way, we feel frustrated. We don't get happiness. Yes, sometimes we get happiness. That happiness is very short-lived, very flickering. She realized her problem is she wanted to enjoy her mind and senses. Then she approached Kapila Muni and said, I am not unable to enjoy. I want now the spiritual pleasure, spiritual topics. Elevate me from this material distress to transcendental happiness. So she says, Devahuti said, we'll see that. Devahuti said, I am very sick of the disturbances caused by my material senses. For because of these disturbances, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Your Lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance. Because you are my transcendental eye, which by your mercy only I have attained after many, many births. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original Supreme Lord of the living entities. You are arisen to disseminate the rays of the sun in order to dissipate the darkness of ignorance in the universe. Now be pleased, my Lord, to dispel my great delusion. Due to my feeling of false ego, I have been engaged by your Maya and have identified myself with the body and consequent bodily relations. Devhuti continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person to whom to take shelter. You are the axe which can cut the tree of the material existence. Therefore, I offer my obeisance unto you, who are the greatest of the transcendentalists, and I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between the spirit and matter. So here, Devhuti is saying that he is feeling disturbances because of the material senses. So presently, we are the soul. The soul has senses as well. They are the permanent senses. But this soul is covered by this material body. What we see externally is a material body having the material senses. So presently, the permanent senses are being covered by the temporary senses. Because we try to enjoy ourselves with these temporary senses, we are feeling stress. We are not at all happy. Yes, some kind of happiness is coming, but this is completely contaminated with material disease. So when the contamination is completely removed, so the contamination of the senses is completely removed, then there arises the purity. So there are so many people saying that you have to control your senses, make your senses void. It is impossible. Senses are always active. What can we do? We have to purify our senses, the eyes, nose, whatever senses we have. How can we purify? We can purify our senses by engaging them in the service of Krishna. The tongue is meant for eating Krishna Prasada or speaking the Krishna Kada. The eyes are meant for seeing the Krishna's beauty. This is what we enter Srimad Bhagavatam by way of so many devotees. It's being explained in this entire Bhagavatam. We have to engage all our senses in the service of the Krishna. Then only that can be purified. Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevana, Bhakti Ruchate. So the ultimate goal of bhakti is to serve the supreme senses. So presently the permanent senses are covered by the temporary senses. Devotional service therefore involves freeing the senses from these contamination. The eternal, when we engage our eternal senses inside, that is called devotional service. But when we engage our external senses, it is material consciousness. It is sense gratification. So animalistic life is the life of sense gratification. From sense gratification, we have to come to self-preservation. The Varnashrama system, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, Brahmachari, all this Varnashrama system is for self-preservation. Then we come to a stage of self-realization. The sense gratification to self-preservation to self-realization is the goal of the Vedas and Bhakti. So, she says, Devata says, you are my transcendental life. This indicates the relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple. Spiritual master is the transcendental eye for a devotee, for a disciple. So we should see through our devotional eyes, transcendental eyes. That's why we sing, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananja Salakya Chakshur Ulmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. So this Guru, Sri Guru, is taking us from the life of conditioned life to the life of freedom. Presently, we are in the conditioned life. The disciple, our conditioned soul, is in the darkness of ignorance. We are in Ajnana, Timirandasya. So we are in the darkest region of ignorance, which is nothing but thinking that I am the body. Then it goes into entanglement of the sense enjoyment. Because of our ignorance, we are entangled into this bodily engagements. And it is very difficult for us to come out. This entire material world is full of fire. Just think about an example where you are sitting in a theater, enjoying the show, that doors are closed, and suddenly the fire starts. The fire starts blazing. You try to escape out by whatever means you have. You break the glass, you push here and there, and you try to come out of this burning theater, isn't it? This material world is also just like that situation. It's burning. Samsara Davan the Loka. Pranaya Karna. This is the what we are singing in the morning. So this pure devotee of Krishna, this Acharya, is coming to us for rescue. Without him, we cannot go out of this material world. The fortunate persons get the spiritual master like Kapila Muni. The sincere you are, the bona fide Acharya will get it. Then he will deliver us from the conditioned life into the life of freedom. This life of freedom is the life of devotional service. Helps us cross from the conditioned life to the freedom by opening through knowledge. Eternal sensory action is devotional service, and temporary sensory activities is sense gratification. And she says, you have risen like a sun. And just like a sun, when it rises, dissipates the darkness. The darkness doesn't exist where there is sun. So when the sun of Krishna appears in our heart, there is no chance for ignorance. So that complete ignorance gets diluted. Then Jayavahuti asks the first question. The first question. Please dispel my knowledge. So please dispel my illusion. The false ego of identifying one's body as oneself and claiming things possessed in relationship with this body is called Maya. What is Maya or illusion? Maya means that which is not. Yet we think that what we are not this body. Generally, we think in the terms of this body and this bodily relationships. But we are eternal souls having a connection with Lord Sri Krishna. We have forgotten that. He is asking to please dispel this ignorance. Because you are causing this ignorance. Why is he saying that? Why is Revanthi saying that you are the cause of ignorance? Because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhagavatam, sorry. Matra, what is that? So from me comes remembrance, ignorance.
Sarvasya chaham hridi
Thank you so much. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. So from me comes ignorance. Everything. So you are the responsible person who is giving me ignorance of this true identity. And not only that, this is Maya, illusion. Maya is under a subservient to you. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate satcharacharam. Prabhupada explains that. So Maya is also under the control of the Supreme Lord. Either Supreme Lord gives ignorance directly or indirectly through his agency called Maya. It is Krishna who is responsible. Because you are responsible, you are capable of dispelling ignorance from me. He said, as soon as the living entity forgets his real constitutional position of eternal servitorship to the Lord and wants to enjoy himself by sense gratification, he is captured by Maya. There is change in the conception and consciousness. When we try to enjoy the materials for my pleasure, I want to enjoy this. Then it is Maya consciousness, material consciousness. If I give this, if I engage these materials into the service of Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. For a devotee, there is no material consciousness because he is always remembering Krishna. So Prabhupada was engaging everything in the service of Krishna, money, everything. We see the life of Prabhupada and his disciples. So people say that when we become a devotee, we should detach ourselves with the material things. No, we should not detach with the. We should detach with the material consumption, not with the material. So we have to attach that material with the service of Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. So she is taking the shelter of Krishna because Krishna is the only one who can be taken shelter of. Sarva dharman varityajya mamekam sharanam raja. Am sampagavyo mokshayami masuchaha. So Krishna is the only one who is capable of giving shelter. But when there is a problem, what we'll do? We'll go to other devatas. Please, oh devata, please give me promotion. Devata, please give me this knowledge. Oh devata, please give me the nice spouse. No, this is not the way we have to approach a devata. That is what Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. You should take shelter of me alone and me alone. Ekeha Kurunandana, the only person of whom to take shelter, because he is the axe. He is the only one who can cut our material existence. Today, we are bound by these three modes of material nature. It's a tight knot. It's a very tight knot. We are bound by in this material world. He cuts that knot by this knowledge. The best of the knowers of bhakti. Krishna is the one who is the best knowers of the bhakti. So please explain me about the jiva in this material world, Purusha and Prakriti. So here, please explain that Purusha here is the jiva. We are trying to become the enjoyer. So Purusha means one who is the enjoyer. In truth, Krishna is the only one who has to enjoy. But we living entities are trying to enjoy. So Prabhupada says that we are the Purushas mentioned over here, trying to enjoy this Prakriti. In the guise of becoming a man and woman, we are trying to enjoy our senses. The correct way, it's the correct way to clean our environment is to have understand that we are the eternal survivors. Today, we becoming the enjoyer, trying to exploit this material world. We are trying to enjoy this material world. We are trying to exploit like Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksha. That's why we see so much of pollution in this material world. But the only one enjoyer is Krishna. If we think that we are servitor and Krishna is the owner, then that is real cleaning of the pollution. This samsara, Prabhupada explains that the samsara is nothing but it is the attachment of relation between Purusha and Prakriti, men and women. So every soul has a propensity to have attachments. You cannot say that don't be attached. It's impossible to become detached. But what can we do? So we have to attach ourselves with Krishna, attach our family to Krishna, attach our friends towards Krishna. That is what is real shelter. Supreme Personality of Godhead is the worthy of the surrender because he is full of opulences. So then, in the next few slokas, Kapila Deva stresses that the mind must be freed from the impurities of the modes of the material nature or gunas and the false identification of I and mine. Only after such purification can one's mind be strongly attached to the Lord. Bhakti is the best process of transforming the mind. The association of the pure devotees awakens the faith or shraddha, attraction or rati and pure devotion. It is only by association with the pure devotees. Indeed, if one becomes attached to such a saintly person, the doors to liberation is open. So in the 13th sloka, that is what is explained in the 12th sloka, where Devahuti confessed that her problem is material enjoyment. Then she asked questions related to liberation. So any question related to liberation satisfies the person who is speaking. So this is the actual purpose. What Devahuti is showing here is the actual purpose of the human life. What is that? There are three purposes of the human life. One is understand his spiritual life. Understand one's own spiritual life. What stage are we? Should be an introspective stage. Am I progressing in the spiritual life or stuck in the spiritual life, or in the name of spiritual life, I'm going in the wrong direction? Understand one's own constitutional position. We are eternal souls, always subservient to Lord Krishna. Ultimately, it's the most heavy statement. The most heavy statement which Prabhupada and his disciples are giving. What is that? Unless we feel that there is inconvenience in this material world, unless we feel there is inconvenience, this material world is not giving me happiness, we are not going to progress in spiritual life. To the degree we see that this is dukhalayam ashashvatam, to the degree we realize this, to that degree we go into the spiritual life. This is a heavy statement. Presently, we feel that we are so comfortable. We came into the spiritual life because we felt uncomfortable in the material life. But we came into the spiritual life, and we are feeling comfortable in the spiritual life. In the name of spiritual life, we are all feeling comfortable. Until and unless we don't feel discomfort, we cannot understand this transcendental knowledge. So the only says 4 kinds of people will come into this spiritual life. One who feels distressed is one among them. Inquisitive, distressed. You are not feeling distressed like Devahuti. We cannot ask questions. We cannot seek our spiritual life. The one who doesn't care for this, his life is spoiled. One who don't care for these 3 purposes of the life, our human life is completely spoiled. I was happy for the questions of the Devahuti because she felt discomfort and she is seeking for liberation, and she asked a question how to get liberated. So Prabhupada says it is only the satsanga. So the sat means eternal, transcendental. Satjana means devotees. Satjana, devotees, pure devotees. Sat Sangha is an association of pure devotees. Sat means we should be very inquisitive to learn about Krishna. But in spite of knowing all these things, being devotees, even in the satsang, we'll do gossips. So recently, we know that Maharaj has came. The Prachar, Parivajaka, Maharaj has come. But what happened? Of course, there was no much disturbance, but I can see even in that association of the Maharaj, people were having a gossips, discussing the material things. Where Maharaj is explaining about Radayatra, what is the constitution of the soul, is giving us the knowledge, association. But even in that association, we are seeing WhatsApp messages, discussing mundane topics. This is not satsang. Satsang means to have inquisitiveness to hear about Krishna Kada alone, nothing more. That is what is Adhyatmika Yoga. So next in 13th sloka, Kapila Muni explains about the Adya Yoga system concerning the soul. This Adhyatmika Yoga is composed of 3 components: Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana, and Bhakti. This causes detachment from material happiness. So we are all trying to get material happiness. Nobody is here searching for distress, right? We all want happiness. Yes, it is a natural constitution because we are Sachitananda. We are pleasure-seeking persons. But today we are seeking pleasure in a wrong way. It's a material happiness. But as soon as we get some material happiness, there is also material distress. So recently, one of the colleagues in my office, we had a discussion with one of the colleagues where he says, this happiness, there is no distress in this happiness. I do this and I get happiness and I don't get distress out of it. No, any material happiness is followed by distress. So why should Krishna give that happiness? So Krishna is giving happiness so that we can understand the value of the distress. It is not that when distress is there, we understand the value of happiness. No. Krishna is giving happiness so that when the happiness is lost, when the attachment is broken, then we feel so much distressed. Today, for example, I am attached to this my mobile phone. There are two things that is going to happen in this material world. Either I go away from my mobile by my death. I can go out, get separated away from my mobile phone, or my mobile phone gets lost or gets destroyed. Either the object gets separated away from us, or we get separated away from the object. So when we are seeking happiness by attachment of the object, when this object goes away, when we are separated, we'll get distress. So Krishna is wanting us to respect the distress, so that we can take up our spiritual life very seriously. So here, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj has given a wonderful analogy of a foolish monkey. So monkeys always want to enjoy. So do you know how a monkey is trapped? So in a traditional way, so the hunters, what they used to do is, so they make a pipe. So the pipe is like a conical shape. One end is small and other end is the biggest one. It's like a cone. In the olden days, milkman used to pour milk. Such kind of arrangement was there. So that a monkey can put hand. So when monkey's hand goes in, when it puts his hand inside it like this, it goes inside. And what does the hunter do? He puts a nice, delicious eatables in this can. So can is fixed to certain location. You cannot move the can out. So what does this monkey do? He tries to grab that food. So it puts the hand fist closed and puts its hand inside and grabs that food inside that can. But when it tries to pull out, hand gets stuck. Doesn't go out. Because the food is stuck inside. The fist becomes big and it cannot pull outside that can. At that instant, the hunter comes and puts a net over it. The monkey sees that hunter is coming to hunt him, but still the monkey holds on to that food inside and gets trapped. This is the foolishness. The monkey is trying to enjoy that food to the last possible extent possible. Had that monkey has let that food pull out that hand out, it would have been escaped. But because of the enjoyment propensity, it gets stuck in the hunter's net. We are also that we are also like that foolish monkeys. Our entire material education is saying that man has come from monkey, the Darwin theory. He's saying that we are all being made that foolish monkeys. We are thinking that we get happiness from that enjoyment. The best thing which we can do in that situation is to stop chasing after that happiness. If you want to become happy, stop chasing after happiness. Radhanath Maharaj says that. The entire yoga philosophy is to end all these material happiness and distress. So this material happiness comes in the duality. There are two sides of the same coin, heads and tails, pain and pleasure, happiness and distress. are going to come. These things. So material happiness lies in the end result. When we pass the examination, we'll be happy. When we get a degree, we'll be happy. So this material world lies in the result, which is wrong. So that's what is making us unhappy. So all these limbs are serviceable and practical in every way. The Lord doesn't manufacture a new system of yoga. There is no need to manufacture any new system. It's all there in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. We have to follow the same thing. Even Krishna, when he comes, he gives the same knowledge. He doesn't create a new system. He gives the same knowledge. So the cause of our material miseries is our attraction, our mind. Our mind is the pivot. When we engage our mind in material modes, when the mind is attached in the three modes of material nature, it causes the mind bondage. But when we engage our mind in the Krishna consciousness, gets liberation. That's what Govinda Dasa says. Vajahure mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. He's addressing the mind because mind is the center of all the elevation. Mind is friend or enemy. If we control the mind, we can become Krishna conscious. Like an example of Vishwamitra Muni. Then we may say, oh, I have to, Govinda Dasa might say, oh, I have to enjoy so many things. How can I enjoy my mind in Krishna? I have enjoyment mentality. Durlava manava janama satsange taraho evava sindhure. So we got this human life very rarely. If we engage this human birth in the service of Krishna, taraho evava sindhure, you can cross this material ocean of distress and happiness. But we may say, oh, if I engage my mind, how shall I enjoy my family? I have a family to look after. I have a job to do. How can I engage in that service? Edana yauvana putra parijana ete ke ache parati tere. The Govinda Dasa says to the mind, do you think these are eternal? Do you think your material enjoyment is eternal? No. Vifale sevino kripana durajana sapala sukala lagire. This is just for flickering happiness. We are working so hard. What happens because of that? Ida bata bar isana edina jamini jagire. What happens? You don't get sleep. You'll get distressed. We are in continuous stress. But how long this happiness is going to last? Kamala dala jala jivana talamala bhajahu hari vada nitere. Kamala dala jala. So just like a tottering, just like a water on the lotus feet, anytime it can fall. Anytime this material happiness can fall. Then what we have to do? Bhajahure mana Sri Nandana. Engage our mind in the Krishna conscious activities. Then he'll get Abhaya Charanarvindare. Then there is no fear. His Grace Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu says, it's like a tug of war. Presently, we are on the side of Maya. Tug of war when two opponents pull each other. The rope on the higher side gets winner. So we are on the side of the Maya, thinking that we will be happy. And Krishna is on the other side. Sometimes, yes, we can pull the rope to our side more. But what happens? Krishna is so powerful that he will pull us. Maya says, only one small mistake has happened. Maya says to Maya says, only small thing. If we have done this if we have corrected this small thing, we would have been happy. He says, Hum honge kamyab, hum honge kamyab, hum honge kamyab ek din. This is what we sing. Definitely one day or the other, I will be successful. Maya says, if not in this life, in the next life, we just take care of this one small aspect. But what happens? Can we be successful? No. Maya continuously and Krishna continuously gets in. Until and unless we take the side of Krishna, we cannot be happy. So, the symptoms of a liberated mind is we should have a clean mind. The kama, lobha, and lobha are the symptoms of material existence. We have long desire and greed. This is the symptoms of because of all these things we are in this material world. I am thinking I and mine. The difference between the conditioned life and liberated life occurs when we purify the mind. We have to purify the mind. How can we purify? So by the chanting of the holy names, what happens? Our mind gets purified. Our existence gets purified. And when the mind is purified, all the senses get purified. We can move from the conditioned life to the liberated life. Once the senses must be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. That is what Govinda Dasa is also saying to the mind. Oh mind, engage in this 9 process of devotional service. So the mind must have active engagement. Recently, one of my uncle's friend has committed suicide. Why? Because his mind was not stable. His mind was not actively engaged. Of course, materially when we see it's a peculiar case, the details is different. But what happened is his mind is not engaged in Krishna consciousness. When our mind is not engaged in Krishna consciousness, we have a tendency of committing suicides. We have a tendency. So we have to give active engagement. Empty mind is a devil's workshop. So we have to give my activity of Krishna consciousness to the mind. So what happens? The pure soul's vision, one can see himself as a minute particle, non-different from the soul. Jivera Sarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. By active engagement, we get our constitutional position. We are qualitatively same, but quantitatively, we are so minute. How does the mind reach this end? The only process is the process of bhakti. There is no other way. Bhakti endowed with jnana and vairagya. When you do bhakti, what happens? You'll get the jnana and vairagya, renunciation. One sees everything from the right. So one should have the knowledge of Shastras, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. And not only that, but one should have the vairagya, renunciation of false proprietorship. You should not think that I am the owner, I am the servant. Then, with these two things, accompanied by bhakti, we can make our mind progress in the stage. One sees everything from the right perspective, become indifferent to the material existence, and material influence acts less powerfully on you. There is no material influences on us. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nasochati Nakanchati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktin Lavade Param. So at this point, when there is no desires, no material desires, we are situated in the form of in the Brahman existence, where it is eternal, it is a bliss. At that point, what happens? Mad Bhakti Lavade Param, you will get the devotional service. So attaining Brahman is not the goal, but at the stage of Brahman, we will get the devotional service. But once we chant the holy names, we are immediately situated in the Brahman platform. There is no need to go to the different levels. In the same body, we can feel that Brahma Buddha Prasannatma stage by the chanting of, by following the 5 limbs of the bhakti. So we'll end this in the 20th sloka. This is what the glory of bhakti is. Knowledge and renunciation are never perfect unless joined by devotional service. So yes, knowledge and renunciation are required, but bhakti alone can suffice. If you do bhakti, automatically the knowledge comes. Because Krishna is the one who is giving you the knowledge. With the proper knowledge, you will have the proper detachment. The Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter says, renunciation with knowledge. Don't renunciate artificial. So in the devotional service of Vasudeva, spiritual knowledge and renunciation of the material world automatically become manifest. As a devotee does not try separately for renunciation or knowledge. It automatically comes. So bhakti is the only auspicious path. When there is devotional service, then the question is, do it. So to whom I should serve? Devotionally, whom I should render bhakti? Bhakti should be rendered to Bhagavan. Devotional service is to Supreme Personality of Godhead alone. So how do we get that bhakti? The problem today is our material association. The material association is the key impediment for our progress. So association of the sadhu opens the door for liberation. Sadhu Sangha, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hai. So what happens with the Sadhu Sangha? We'll get unflinching faith in the Krishna. We know the stages of bhakti. Sadhu Sangha, Sasadda, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, all those things. So when we associate with the devotees, what happens? Our faith in Krishna consciousness gets improved. Even though unable to follow the rules and regulations, who is a sadhu? Even the person is unable to follow the regulatory principles and rules strictly, but he has unflinching devotion towards Krishna. He has understood that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That person can be called as a sadhu. We can have association with that sadhu. Attachment cannot be killed. Attachment towards material things is material consciousness. Attachment for Krishna is Krishna consciousness. One should attach oneself with the devotees, satsanga, because when we associate with the devotees, they teach us how to serve Krishna. The entire Samsara Davana morning program, morning prayer we do is how Guru engages us in the service of the Lord Sri Hari. So we should serve that sincere soul, wholeheartedness. Today we'll stop at this point. Tomorrow we'll continue the rest 21 to 44 slokas, where how do we do bhakti? How do we associate with sadhu sangha? What is the power of association? We understand that. Very important session. Those who have come today, please make sure that you attend to tomorrow as well, so that we can complete the entire chapter of this process of devotional service. Hare
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for taking this very important chapter, and so happy that you could take 2 sessions in a row, so that this is given due importance instead of hurrying through. I'm listening to all the slokas, and wonderfully you're explaining with a lot of examples. Yeah, I liked one sentence you told Prabhuji. Said, "Why should Krishna give you happiness?" Right? That is very profoundly struck me, because he doesn't want us to be here. And
Yes.
if he gives happiness, we are attached to this place, and that people complain in different ways. But that's perfectly the perfect sentence you told. Thank you very much for going through this, and this is a very one of the most important chapters in Bhagavatam, the preliminaries teachings. Thank you.
Any more doubts, queries, suggestions?
Hare
Hare Krishna Prasad Prabhu. How are you, Prabhuji?
Such a wonderful session.
Prasad Prabhu, your audio is breaking a little bit. Is it for me?
Prasad Prabhu, your audio is breaking.
Oh, 1 second, Prabhu. I don't know. So I'll just change the place. Is this better, Prabhu?
Now it's better.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Such a wonderful session, Prabhu. So no words actually. Like Prabhupada puppets and translations itself so nectarious, Prabhu, and from such a nectarious information, you have pulled the lot of summary and then shared that information to us. It's a really amazing presentation, Prabhu. I have only one question or point, Prabhu. You said at one place, the problem is not with material. The problem is with material contamination. That's what you said, Prabhu.
Material consumption.
Material conception. Okay, not a contamination. Okay. So what does it mean, Prabhu? You want to add little more information on that?
So material conception is simple. I want to enjoy myself. Is me enjoying or Krishna enjoying? There is nothing in between. So material conception is this material is for my enjoyment. I prepare food so that I can enjoy. But instead of that, Krishna consciousness means preparing food so that Krishna can enjoy. Is it?
Okay.
That's what the change in the consciousness. Krishna is as in center. I am only the servant who is trying to enjoy the remnants of what is left by Krishna. Otherwise, it is material consciousness.
Okay. I only take, not even enjoy. I only take the remnants of what Krishna has given.
What Krishna orders to me to do.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Correct.
So it could be any material, anything.
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 Even spiritual life, even Bhagavad Gita, if you think that I am enjoying this Bhagavad Gita for a highest credit, it's material enjoyment.
Okay.
That knowledge is for renunciation of false proprietorship. We don't have anything in our own. We don't own anything except for ownership. So we should renunciate that ownership. That is what differentiates between material consciousness and spiritual consciousness. Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So wonderful, Prabhu. So wonderful.
You are one of my source of inspiration. Even after so much distress, what you are facing today, you have chose to attend Krishna Katha. So thank you so much for giving me your association.
Thank you, Prabhu. Such a wonderful nectarious session, Prabhu. We should listen this multiple times, Prabhu, to get the essence of it. It's like a complete session, Prabhu. Whatever you have mentioned today, it has a complete summary of everything, actually. That's what I could see, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Very good.
Hare Krishna. Any other person? Any other devotee would like to add some points? I'm sure that I have missed some things.
And for sure, one more point, Madhu. For sure, it would have taken so much time for you to extract the summary of the summary of the nectarious purpose, Prabhu. Yeah. So the presentation and the words you have chosen, it's definitely not easy, Prabhu. Okay. I could see the slides and the information what you have put it over there. It will definitely take a lot of time to extract the summary from the puppets. Okay, that is what you have done. It's definitely not an easy thing.
The slides is not the beautified form of the Subodhini. Because she's Subodhini and my slide, there is no hard difference. It's only the Gaurang Darshan's Prabhu. I am presenting it as in our way. The only all the credit goes to all the acharyas and the devotees like all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to share? Add a point. If there are no such questions, we can end the session today. Hare Krishna, Praveen Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the wonderful Mangalarti today. Very nice to see a beautiful altar for your brother house and in the nectarian session today. Thank you, Prabhu. Vansha Kalptarabhi.
Koti Vaishnavratna ki jai. Transcendental book Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dandavat Pranam.